Now, with that said, I'd like to hand it over to Nick Kaplan, partner at RMW Commerce, a, a true consultant and pillar of the industry, an AI enthusiast, and he can help us talk through what's going on in with AI in commerce operations today. Nick, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Awesome. It's great to
Perfect.
have you. It's really exciting stuff where we're at. I mean, we're just dipping our toes into AI. Just before we get started, give me your crystal ball efforts on what do you think is going to happen in the next
I
year.
mean, I can't give away my whole presentation. I can't give away my ending, but sometimes you start at the end, which is a big thing that we preach in terms of how you manage life. But look, I think people that are smart kind of know what they don't know. I think we know we're going somewhere better fast. Um, I think we know we have to be on the journey. So I'm going to talk a bit about it. I think Kelly got us off to a great start in episode 1. For those of you that didn't watch it, you should. Kelly is a very smart person who gave a great talk and laid a nice foundation. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a, I'm not Mr. Serious. I'm live here from New York, and I'll go through with the group watching some thoughts on AI. But I think we're on an exciting journey, and that's the crystal ball. It's like hop onto the ride because it's going to be a crazy one.
I think it's only fair, and I think that means that at these times, events like this and just paying attention to what's changing in the industry is the most important thing that we can do. If you can share your screen with us, I'll go ahead and add it so that everyone can see. Looks great. Oh, no,
Let me stop my share real quick. Sorry
Yeah,
about
you
that.
just stopped. 1 second. We'll put it back on there, and then we'll
I'm keeping you on your toes. So.
We already had a small technical difficulty at the start. The video didn't play the right way. What are you gonna do?
Well, okay, so let's share one more time. There we go. All right, good to go?
There we go. You're good to go. I'll let you take it away, Nick. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, we are here today. Often I'm talking with people, so it's going to be really interesting to talk without people. But today, I think right place to start is like where we are, right? So we're going to talk about AI, but we're not just going to jump in. And I think, as I said before, I think Kelly did an amazing job of sort of laying the foundation. Totally agree with Kelly when he talked in episode 1 about like a generational technology. AI is a generational technology. And today we find ourselves in this sort of new era, right? So I think we've seen the world that we live in as operators go from growth to profit to efficiency. And what that means is what matters has changed. And so to set this up, we've moved from this age of profit where all of a sudden people recognized that to be profitable was difficult to drive growth because it was sort of profit. And as a result, we've moved into this place where demand matters versus supply. We measure the value of our businesses through our trailing 12-month customer file versus EBITDA. GEMROI, which we'll talk about a bit later, which plays really nicely into the tools available to you in the AI universe versus gross margin and markdowns, and the future organization being far more communal, far more connected, and far different as a former merchant, a recovering merchant, and I love product, to sort of evolve from bifurcated organizations to communal ones that work in sync to make great decisions and drive towards the goals of the organization versus the unit. So commerce has changed. I mean, it's everywhere, right? We now have the ability to shop in stores. We now can shop online. We can now shop in app. We have distribution in wholesale, which exposes people to our brands, marketplaces, social commerce, and affiliate, which is no longer just about Coupon Cabin and Retail Me Not, but about a person who builds their own brand in their own community and can monetize that for themselves as well as help you to build brand. And so what that means is that traditional sort of bi-channel commerce stores web has evolved. And I think that that's really important to understand because I think that the rules of engagement have dramatically changed as well. And so we used to talk about, like commerce, where she or he are, and it was sort of more theoretical, but commerce now truly happens wherever someone wants to consume it. And I think that AI has been and will continue to be a large player in that. So I think like the setup is we're in a new place. We're operating in a new way. There's a new set of rules, and the rules of engagement have changed. And I think what's really important is that the consumer's expectations have changed. And I think that when we think about what that means, and Rick Watson and I worked on a paper with Pipe 17 about the modern brand promise and delivering that. And I think it's important to read that paper, a little biased, of course, but I think that it talked about like the journey doesn't end when a transaction happens, it begins. And I think that this kind of omnipresent commerce environment, the never-ending relationship with your consumer is critically important as you consider your technology and your ability to compete. And so let's talk about like kind of what exactly like AI is. So like we talk about AI and everyone's like, I get what AI is, but thinking about like AI, it's a couple things and it's not. So I think there's some misconceptions. Like, so AI is capable of identifying trends. Like it's not a magical solution that guarantees you success. It's useful in areas like predictive modeling, right? It's math. It's not a one size fits all solution that's like, oh, let's have the AI figured out. And I think sometimes we sort of hear and see that. It's a system that simulates human intelligence through algorithms. Again, it's math. It's a lot of if-then statements. If this is going to happen, then that's most likely going to happen. It is not us. It is not a true human in terms of its cognitive abilities. It's a tool for repeating tasks or for making them more efficient. It's not a substitute for human creativity. It's dependent on good data. If it's like anything, the expletive comes to mind, but it's like bad in, bad out. And so it won't be able on its own to operate without us operating it. And I know that the Terminator enthusiasts probably get disappointed by that, but it's the reality. But it is ultimately a powerful tool that can help us complete the work that we need to do and give us the support and the advantage to get much further faster. But what it isn't is not a replacement for us, and certainly not in its current state. And there's a lot of debate about the ethics in AI and how that could have has to sit at the center of the development of it. But for the purposes of AI in our industry, these are sort of what it is and what it isn't. So speaking of which, our industry. And so I tried to write as much of this as I could using AI. And I think this is like a really beautiful slide to show that. So this is produced by Dolly. And that's the piece of ChatGPT that allows for you to give prompts to the creative you want. And here, I think what's really important to notice is that it took me 60 seconds to create this to sort of give you a lead in to how is this amazing technology in retail. And if you look at all the different spellings of optimization, none of which is right, I think it gives a really good sort of, wow, this is pretty cool. It's a neat graphic, but it sort of has challenges. And I think that was sort of interesting to me to sort of demonstrate how much we can do, but some of the challenges that still persist. So today, AI. So you use it, whether you know it, you don't know it. As a consumer, as an operator, most likely AI is permeating your life. And an interesting stat I read in preparing this was that I think about a third of people believe AI is in their experiences, in their commerce experiences, but the reality is it's 77% of the experiences. So there's clearly some good things happening that let people sort of not know they're interacting with AI, but it is important. And so let's talk about a bit where AI sort of sits in your life today as an operator or consumer. So clearly personalized customer experiences, right? There are algorithms today that you should hopefully be using that analyze based on some identification like cookie or an email or a link from a source like an email to offer personalized recommendations. So so you may also like, or driving you to a page that the AI thinks you may like versus others based on certain attributes. So there's dynamic content, plus it can serve you promotions. Hopefully you're all interacting with chatbots and virtual assistants as it makes your life far more easy. Amazon has really pioneered this, but there are so many other people in this space. I think 50% of customer service inquiries are now about a Wizmo, for those of you that are not in the know, which is a where is my order. And most people, hopefully at this point, are using AI to answer that question, as all of us operators in that space recognize how expensive the labor is to answer those calls that could just be done through a chatbot. Visual search, I mean, hopefully you're all walking around with your phones, taking pictures, and you're then able to look at the item that you've taken a picture of through that visual search, or there's image recognition. So AI helps enhance like the categorization. We'll talk a little bit about a solution that's doing that in a few minutes. Pricing and promotion optimization. Right now, demand versus supply is critical. So your ability to essentially push the button and improve demand based on price change or promotion or market conditions is far better done through an algorithm than a human. And having lived this for a long time, this gray hair didn't come easy. Humans know until they don't know. Machines know. And I think that you can base traffic on scraping external pricing from competitors to your current business goals to drive better pricing to drive demand, which translates to conversion. Fraud detection. There's a ton of solutions out there that look for standard deviation, and this is where behavior is happening in a certain way, and when there's anomalistic moves, it can call that out and understand why, and then flag it for a further review. And it's really important that people now, with shrink being such a big part of all of our businesses and bad debt, that you can really do things to prevent that, and AI is critical. And this one's kind of maybe my favorite one, which is media buying. I think it's an interesting space to begin with, and I think that there's definitely a mix of art and science in media buying. And as a person that was staunchly against PMax and Google's AI tool, that's effectively a black box that Google's developed that says it can spend money smarter than you, and now advantage shopping from Facebook, I was opposed because I thought that it would really benefit Google. But the reality is, with media buying, which is a huge part of everybody's business, because ultimately, whether you're a B2B solution, a D2C solution, you are in the business of acquiring, retaining customers and spending money, whether it's through trade shows or sales teams or content to buy customers. And your ability to connect with those customers and buy media is really important. And if you could do it far more efficiently, those dollars, which again, we'll talk a bit about the importance of working capital in a minute and how AI is helping with that. But the ability to sort of do that efficiently is really important, and it's happening today. So going on, these are some like real sort of happenings, right? So these are 3 solutions I grabbed from a Google search using Gemini, because I think, conversational commerce is a big thing that's happening. And while I didn't delve into conversational search, which is the ability to say, hey, I'm going to a wedding this weekend. I want a 1 in a million tie. I'm never going to wear it again, and I'm going to throw it away. And I'd get a result versus saying, hey, I want a tie. So here, Klarna, who actually made more news recently with their declaration that they were going to move away from Salesforce, and they were basically going to build AI solutions to do all the work of people, which you can Google and look at. But Klarna did, in fact, eliminate 700 jobs, letting chatbots do the work, which I thought was really interesting. And I think that that's a good example of an ability to create working capital for them, free up that money to invest in other places. And by the way, it talks about, if you do a Google search, I think it said 83 million jobs will be lost to AI, but 97 million jobs will be created. So there is definitely a fear, but a growth. Retailers like Target and Walmart have introduced new technology. So Walmart has introduced SAM. And next time you go to a Walmart, if you go there to buy your groceries or whatever it is, like check it out. But it's a technology that's given to store associates to help them find things in the store, or answer questions, or competitively price, as well as check out people, as well as helping to improve the customer experience, as Walmart clearly values its customer and values its business on its customer. And then lastly, one other solution I think that's like really improving process, that's making life more efficient. And like I have a big thing about, post-pandemic time, not oil, not data, is probably our most valuable commodity. And that's really affected the shopping experience. And one thing we certainly work on with our clients is like, how do they be better to help their customers, whether businesses or consumers, to save time and ultimately money? It's Lily AI. And there's a bunch of different solutions that help you do attribution, deep tagging, and Lily will, essentially let you see address and have all these different attributes and help you do the product description and optimize for search. And that's really important as people want to find the products and the things they're looking for more effectively, as again, like customers only going to search a certain number of pages before they open the door to go to another website. So having the right product at the right price at the right time is really important in the journey. So these are some places where like we're seeing AI. And I think, inventory optimization is a really important one. And a lot of what we talk about, again, is like the balance between customers and inventory. And as you think back to the slide I had on the age of efficiency, like inventory is critical. GMROI, which is gross margin return on investment, and turning your inventory for cash is far different and better than just buying inventory and saying, I can make a lot of money. And so as we think about like inventory is our greatest asset until it's liability, right? It's like, it's amazing until it's not. Things that AI can do for you that are really simple, but really effective are like demand-based pricing. Again, like how many people are coming to your site? What are they looking at? What's the potential to sell something? It's about, this is a really incremental story, right? There's no silver bullets. Nothing's going to come in and save your business or take your business from 0 to 100. It's about improving your chances of success. Like a casino, I think a casino wins like 5%-ish of the time. It's the same for you, which is, demand-based pricing, inventory replenishment, working capital gets tied up as you buy the inventory you think you need. If it was the inventory probabilistically that you knew that you needed, and you could sort of work on a faster turn, and AI can help with the model to learn and demand forecast what you're thinking may work versus what actually is going to work, and then make that buy. And you'd rather have less inventory and opportunity cost of missed sales and marking things down, degrading your brand, and really dealing with the problem that most people honestly often can't get out of. And then lastly, which I think is near and dear to my heart, especially what Derek talked about earlier, and I think Pipe solves this problem. Like Pipe 17, is a great solution in a place where using AI, you want to have your inventory in different places, because what the consumer doesn't understand is like how much cost we do goes into the product that they're buying because of the movement and the touching. And if we could get something from California to California versus California to New York, because we had multiple DCs and we were selling in 17 different places and had 1 million customers spread out throughout the country or the world, this is really important, because using a solution to do carrier rate shopping or to effectively find the best place to distribute and fulfill a product is important. So these are 3 really good things that we need to sort of take into consideration. So in conclusion, the future, like where are we going? And I picked a couple of quotes that I thought were really important, because the thing I'd like everybody to walk away with, and again, like going back to what I said, like I'm smart enough to know what I don't know. I know this is critical to our future. I don't know how big it's going to be, but it's going to be big. And I think that if we think about like a couple of these snippets, which is we're a fashion company, but also a tech company from ASOS. And I think that that's true. You're a tech company. Technology can help you with scheduling, hiring, offshoring, processing. It can really serve the purposes of people as well as be a tool that can give you far more advantage. 83% of companies claim AI as a top priority, which I think is really telling, and it's a good thing. But while 78% of people polled, they think that the benefits of generative AI outweigh the risks. So I agree. I'm always opting in for privacy policies. And so I think as we look into the future and we acknowledge and recognize that AI will continue to evolve, and we have to be there with it. And then, I think that lastly, I'd say, and this is what is a presentation from a consultant without some kind of a quote from McKinsey? What's the threat of not getting started? And I think that's the question you have to walk away from. It's like, what's the threat of me not being in AI? And so I think the AI market's going to grow significantly in $85 billion by 2032. And I think that we are I'm going to stop sharing now, Derek. We're in an unprecedented sort of new reality, and ask yourself the question, like, what's the risk of me not being in the game?
Yeah. You mentioned 78% of people believe that the advantages outweigh the risk. That means that 22% of people are not going to move their business forward with generative AI tools. And what we're about to hear in this upcoming panel is how beneficial these are. They streamline media buying, creative testing. They streamline cross-selling products. They streamline supply chain management. So, and I guess in some cases that's, if we're talking Gen AI, some of those aren't Gen AI solutions, some are. But what would you say to the brand that's still reluctant? Just like actually just they I don't know, the robot's gonna take my job or whatever the reason.
I think that there's often like a fear of the unknown, or there's a fear of being first mover. No one gets fired for choosing Klaviyo as an email service provider. And it's a perfectly good solution and it's evolving quickly, but is it the most dynamic and is it the one that everybody should use? Probably not. So I'd say, I'm full of expressions, and I'll use one. TTWWADI is like a syndrome that plagues this industry. And that's the way we've always done it. And I think that, people don't want to innovate and evolve often in this business because it's capital intensive and it forces risk. And so I would say that the 22% are probably people who are either on the back of the bell end of their career, and it's like why would I risk that? Or they're just not certain, right? They just don't get it.
So okay, so in order you think that puts their business at risk then? I would argue that, they're going to retire, maybe they'll sell the company, and then somebody else with more innovative mindset will take over.
Yeah, I think that I was talking to someone 2 days ago, and they're a smallish business, and he was saying that he himself is developing some tools using ChatGPT. You could start to conversate back and forth and iterate, and you can develop, if you have the desire, tools that can help you, or models. Like, I think look at some of the conversational commerce that's happening. That's a term that's kind of spun up quickly, that people are now using chat to take the data sets and quickly analyze them to sort of show products or help people find what they're looking for. And I don't know that there's a definitive ROI on day one, which I think oftentimes as you run things up the proverbial flagpole, you need to justify. But yeah. Exactly. This is not, when you have so much capital tied up in inventory and your margins are based on future return, right? Meaning you own $1 million of inventory today. You better have $1 million of customers or visits tomorrow. And if you don't, then all of a sudden the 55% merchandise margin you've made, the $550,000, can all of a sudden become $200,000, and the $400,000 of fixed expenses don't go away. So we're always qualitatively, unfortunately, doing cost benefit in the retail business and in any inventory business, no matter what sector. And that to me has been very prohibitive in businesses' ability to innovate. And I would say that what AI will do is it will help streamline many tasks and ultimately make businesses and operations more efficient to eliminate roles. And that will free up working capital to invest in the technology needs of a business, because it's a necessity. Then the businesses need to understand that. It's like innovate or die at this point.
I love it. And we're going to get more into exactly how to implement those systems in our panel. I have to bite my tongue on a question from Gagandeep because you were just touching on it. We're going to hold all those things for the panel at the end. Thank you, Nick, so much.
Awesome.
Right now, we're going to move into the
See
next
you.
panel, AI in Action. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes, Nick.